Hey everyone, Grandmaster Stitch here, and I just wanted to share with you an idea slash theory that's been going around which I really like and have quite brought into myself and had been considering myself as well. It's a big event that I think could potentially happen involving the Night's King and the Army of the Dead in Season 8. It could be completely crazy and way off the mark, but I really like the idea and I think it would be really awesome and an interesting twist if it were to happen. So basically, the idea is that the Night's King will not be present at the Battle of Winterfell and instead will head south to the unprepared King's Landing. I think he'll send a huge amount of his force to Winterfell to fight, but this will be both a distraction and a sacrifice he will make in order to obtain a much bigger prize. We repeatedly heard mention that King's Landing has a population of 1 million people, more than all the North combined, plus the South has been ravaged by the War of the Five Kings, leaving the country scattered with dead bodies, just waiting to be added to his army. I think he'll head south alone or maybe with some of his army whilst Winterfell is distracted fighting the majority of his force, reanimating corpses on the way with his sights set on the population of King's Landing. We know the Night's King has Worgen and Greenseer abilities similar to Bran, so you can probably see how prepared Winterfell is. They have a huge army, all equipped with dragonglass weapons and 2 fire-breathing dragons, and worst of all for him, they know he's coming. So why not instead send a portion of his army to give them battle and weaken them whilst he heads south for a much greater prize and a bigger army. If the dead lose the Battle of Winterfell, it won't matter to him as the survivors will be weakened and still left with not enough food to feed their armour, whilst he makes his army stronger in the south. Why risk losing the war and his most important weapon, his dragon, when instead he can head south for an easier victory and a bigger prize, which will make his odds on beating the northern forces a lot better. I can see our heroes winning the battle for Winterfell, but not without cost and losing many men, only to realise the Night's King and his dragon were not present, for then maybe Bran to reveal he's instead heading south. This would mirror the plan Robb Stark put in place against Tywin Lannister in Season 1, where he sent a portion of his army to fight Tywin as a distraction whilst the rest hurried to Riverrun to lift the siege and capture Jaime Lannister in the Battle of the Whispering Woods. We've already had lots of parallels to previous seasons, so why not this one too? It could then create a lot of conflict as Jon is probably going to want to head south to try and save the living, but most will probably want no part in this. If they abandon the North, why should the North help them? They'll probably want to just sit tight and hold the North. Jon's obviously going to want to march south and fight for the living though, just like when he made common cause with the wildlings to stop them growing the army of the dead. We all know how this went down with the Night's Watch though and the conflict it caused. Him wanting to save Lannisters and King's Landing will probably go down just as badly with the Northern Lords. It could also explain why Bran wouldn't say anything about Cersei not coming north. Surely he knew she wasn't coming and didn't say anything for a reason. I mean, he knew Jaime was on his way as he was waiting for him in the courtyard all day. Maybe he knows she needs to remain in King's Landing with the wildfire, which, if King's Landing's population are turned into whites, could become very useful. It would fit in well with the theory about Bran telling the Mad King to make wildfire too and spread it throughout the city, maybe so that it's all in place for when the population gets turned into whites, and the Mad King was the only one crazy enough to place wildfire everywhere, and we know Cersei is crazy enough to use it after the Sept incident. There's quite a lot of evidence pointing at this happening. We are constantly reminded by the characters about the huge population of King's Landing. There must be a reason they don't normally bang us over the head with something so much unless it's going to come into play. Also, Bran had a bunch of visions in which all have come true other than the shadow of a dragon flying over King's Landing. Maybe the reason we didn't see the dragon was because it was the Night's King and not Dany and her dragon, so would have given too much away that early. And then there's Dany's vision in the House of the Undying in Season 2 where she sees the throne room destroyed and covered in snow. This could be from the Night King's attack as he brings the snow and cold weather with him. One of the cons of this theory though for me is that I've always been a firm believer that Jaime would be the one to kill Cersei, but who knows, maybe he could kill an undead Cersei or she's somehow still alive and he's the one to still kill her. Who knows, maybe this could all just be a load of rubbish and the Night's King will be at the Battle of Winterfell and either be defeated, which would be a little bit disappointing for the main antagonist and biggest threat of the series to be dealt with in one episode, when we'll still have 3 extra length episodes left to go, or maybe the dead win the battle, but I don't really see how the living could come back from such a crushing defeat, retreat and regroup. Maybe the Night's King will be brought down in a more magical way rather than just open battle. Who knows, we'll have to wait and see. Please let me know down in the comments what you guys think of this idea. Like I say, I'm not completely sold on it as there are many awesome theories out there. I just thought this would be a really cool and crazy twist which could potentially happen. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and hopefully I'll see you soon.